That's how he played through the tournament. He was like, never wasted a shot. Every shot had a purpose. I think he outmatch played everybody played there, and if he plays to the same standard here, he will take the world to beat him, because that was such a high quality performance.
Well, you mentioned the Masters. In fact, Sean Murphy, the man he beat in the final, is on record afterwards. He said Neil has become one of the best in the game, scoring ability mixed with tactical prowess. He's probably overtaken John Higgins now. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think the straight cueing is important. You know, who's knocking the balls in the back of the pockets the best really does win this game of snooker. It doesn't matter how good you are tactically, how good your sort of shot selection is. All that department can sort of go to the back of the cue, really. I don't think he's in Higgins' class as far as all-round game, but he's still so strong.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. In my eyes, it's just the fact he is when he gets his head above the water, he's like this and he's ready for everything.
Yeah. And as for Ken Doherty, I know he's a little more inconsistent than he once was, but that run to the semi-finals at the Australian Open earlier this season does show that he's capable of still producing some very good performances.
Yeah, and I hark back to the comments I made earlier. Mostly for me, it's about Ken scoring. It's tactically, he hasn't forgotten anything he knows about, and he's going to be a match for Robertson in that department. It's just that when his chances turn up, like he made a century early on, he's got to at least make 50, 60, 70 when the chances come up, because Robertson won't keep giving them to you.
Crafty Ken will still have a say in this one, yeah. Well, they're off for their tea break. We're going to get back to events on table 1, which we left earlier on. Hendry taking a 1-0 lead in this one. And we're into frame 2. Bingham, 8 points in front, and we'll return you to Neil Foles and John Virgo.
I don't even know if he's pushed either of the Reds up out of play. I think Stephen can cut this one in. Thought he'd play it firmer than that, just to avoid leaving anything on. Now, I'm sure that red cuts back. Again, cue ball not going anywhere. Complete control. Didn't really know where it was going to finish, but I think he'll take that kiss. That's on the green. That's the best result he could have hoped for. Well, not really straightforward again. He would love to get the black back on its own spot as soon as he can. That's where Hendry is absolutely dominant. Not even an easy shot to get behind it from where it is. Always very difficult to judge the pace on those.
5.
He's gone a fraction too far. Pot is still on, but he might look at something else.
Yeah, I think the green looks a little bit more appetising than the black. There's a red to the left middle that he can get on comfortably, you would have thought. Just got into that cue ball a little bit too much. Possibility this red
8.
to the left middle, but straighter would have been ideal. Now, a pressure black, and that's what I'll call it, a pressure black to the left middle. Doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball, but there's a bit of heat on this one.
Yeah, for more than one reason as well, not only because of what he would have left, but now then he's got the black
16.
on its spot, and it's now a proper chance to win the frame. So he's kind of got over the
17.
early difficult shots in this break, and now it should be a little easier. played on the bottom red there, and he wants to be straight on it, or fairly straight. Just run it through. Let's use the other red slightly, but
25.
this is a great chance to extend his lead.
Didn't exactly hit the red he wanted
32.
to, but it's worked out okay. If he feels he can't play for the black, he can run up. He's got green and brown on the spots, the blues more at the far left corner pocket, so it's a pretty good chance, but he feels as though he can get back for the black.
33.
And played it nicely. He'll be disappointed if he doesn't win the frame at this visit now.
Yeah, and he just settled better than Stuart Bingham. Stephen Hendry here, he
40.
didn't look at his best at the start, but he just managed to find a way of getting his game going. It's going to be interesting because a lot of the qualifiers have only had a few days. Qualification finished last weekend, so a lot of them are going to have a lot of confidence still. Not an awful lot of time to think about these matches as well. So I wonder if you are going to get a few seeded players
48.
knocked out. Hasn't been the case recently. It's hard to think of Stephen as a qualifier, a possible underdog in a match like this, isn't it? But I guess he is. The bookmakers don't necessarily think that he's an outsider, but he had to win a match
49.
to get here.
Yeah, I hope I'm not throwing you a googly here, Neil, but how did they bet on this match at the start?
Well, they couldn't decide. Just about all the bookmakers, including the sponsors, were just about each of two, 10 to 11 each of two. In other words, if you can't work out who the favourite is, there isn't one, I suppose.
57.
So that's the frame ball. He's just knocked in there. 49 points to lead. There's only 43 remaining. And I think, Neil, if I was
62.
Stuart Bingham, I'd be a little bit concerned. He's just not got going yet. He needs to relax and start letting that cue get through.
Absolutely right, and as you always say, John, you never really get into the match until you've got something on the board, frame, and Stuart hasn't played all that well. A couple of chances, I have to say, have gone awkward. Sometimes that happens. You feel you're in good nick, but then the chances you get have just got
68.
an extra degree of difficulty about them. But that really applied to Stephen as well, and he's got over it.
69.
And, well, he's going to take the brown here because it means he can make exactly 100.
$73. $75. $78.
John has just had a look at how many centuries Stephen has made. I've lost count. It was 772.
82.
And this would be 773. It's a record he must be very proud of. It's a lot of century breaks. Of course, what we always fail to
87.
mention is that he's made, I should think, hundreds of thousands, well, many thousand on the practice table anyway. Day in, day out. But it's in match play, we're talking. And
93.
not many where he rolls the black into the left middle, though, should he do it. Would be an unconventional way to make a century break. It's in though, and Stephen Hendry looks in good form.